Hey crafty friends, today we're turning our August free kit into this lovely mini recipe book, and we're doing it all without sewing. So this is a no-sew binding and it's super easy to do. So come join me over on the craft table and get your free kit by checking out the description box or the pinned comment. I'll see you inside.
In a fun junk journal dream, DJ's crafting grungy scenes. Hither and yon, where friends all meet. Paper glue and vintage treats.
All right, friends, so let's get into it. We're gonna need either the background papers that I gave you with the kit, or some type of paper that you want to use for your spine and your covers. And that I'm going to use this for my cover, so I think I'll just use maybe this one for my spine. Actually, I'm going to use this one for my spine and this one for my inside pages. Okay, so for your spine you have a couple of choices, and you can vary this if you want. The size that we're going to cut is going to depend on how many pages you want to put inside your journal. This is a no-sew binding, so um, we're going to actually attach our pages to a strip that has some tabs on it. Okay, so we're going to create that strip. And I'm going to give you two options, one with 7 pages, and then one with 9 pages. And then if you want to increase from there, I'll tell you what the measurement is. But let's do the first one. I'm going to do mine that's 7 pages. So a page, these are my pages that I have cut out. These were like 2 on a sheet. And you cut it at the halfway mark. Now mine had some, those white borders. So mine is slightly smaller than 5.5, which would be half of 11. And so I want to make sure I measure it. So if you have lines and you have to cut, or borders and you have to cut that off, you want to measure the height of your sheet. So mine is about 5 and 1, 2, 3, 5/16, not quite, just under it. So I'm going to call it 5 1/4. And so this way it doesn't matter as much because we're going to cut that to a size. So I'm going to remember that my height is going to be 5 1/4, and then my width, I'm going to make my width 6.5. But you could also go up to 8, and that'll give you 9 pages. But I'm going to do 7 pages that are folded in half like this across. Now I've given you a lot more than 7 pages, so pick out your 7 favorites. And you can always make multiples of this to give to different people, or you can make it a little bigger at 9. You can go up to 11, and I'll give you that measurement. But for now, let's do the 7 so you kind of get an idea of what we're doing. So first I want to cut my height, which I decided was 5 1/4. And I'm going to go this way. If you're using a paper that is directional, then you want this to be the up and down, okay? Mine is not, so I'm just going for it. And then for 7 pages, your measurement's going to be 6.5. And for 9 pages, it's going to be 8, just so you can remember that. And to score this, it's probably better if you use a scoring board rather than your trimmer, because it just gets really monotonous with the trimmer. It gets to be a lot of fidgeting and moving the paper around. So if I can find my scoring knife for this board. Where did you go? All right. So I'm going to use this scoring board, and it's a little hard to see my numbers on here, but the first score we're going to make is at a 1/2 inch over. Okay, and this is going to be on the 6.5 inch side. So the 6.5 inch side is up against the top of my scoreboard, and I'm going to score a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to just flip it around 180 degrees, and I am going to score a 1/2 inch again. And then from here, you are just scoring every 1/4 inch all the way across. So it makes it very easy. You can just keep your paper in place and go over a 1/4 inch all the way across. Just make sure your paper doesn't get misaligned. And my scoreboard is not quite as wide. I have a bigger one, but I don't want to drag it out. I'm just going to flip this around when I get further over. So just 1/4 inch. That's it. That's all you're doing. Okay, so I'm just going to flip this. So a 1/4 inch from that 1/2 inch mark on either side. It doesn't matter because it all works out. The hardest part here is just making sure your paper doesn't get misaligned on the board. Okay, and so it's easier to see probably this way. Is you have a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch here, and then just 1/4 inches all the way across. If this was 8 inches, same thing. 1/2 inch with 1/4 inch marks all the way across. All right, so you have your 1/2 inch and a score mark, and then you have another score mark next to it. Okay, this first score mark, you don't really need it. It's really just to show you where you're going to tuck your spine underneath your page. Okay, I'll try to do it this way because I think these lines are easier to see on this background. So, yeah, but this is the way I have to fold it. So, all right, so you know that everything is a 1/4 inch, and I'm hoping that you can see most of it. But basically, you're going to skip the first one, and you're going to skip the second one. Okay, and then the third one is going to become a mountain fold. Okay, so we skipped one, we skipped two, and the third one is a mountain fold. Then moving forward, you're going to skip two and do a mountain fold. So 1, 2, mountain fold. Okay, and you just want to make sure as you're going that these are aligned so that you get a nice straight line here. Okay, so we have a mountain fold, we skipped two, we did a mountain fold, we're going to skip two and do a mountain fold, and you're just going to do that all the way across, no matter which one you cut. So skip two, mountain fold. Okay, skip two, mountain fold. All right, I'm just going to finish till the end. And when you get to the last one, you should have a mountain fold and then 2 scores, okay? So you have all these mountain folds, everything else is a valley fold. All right, and the way that I like to do that is that on this first mountain fold, I'm going to hold it and I'm going to kind of push my paper out here and press it down. So basically we're making like a tab. Okay, and those creases, those score marks, help make our tab like this. Okay, and you just do that with every single mountain fold. It just, you can go in and do valley folds for all of them and score it that way. I just find it easier to grab the mountain fold and pinch it up and make a tab like that. Okay, so I am going to do that all the way across. I'm just pinching my mountain fold and kind of pressing my paper down till it catches those creases, those score marks. Okay, and do this all the way across. Okay, so when you're done, you should have a bunch of tabs like this. So you have a tab here, a space, a tab here, a space, a tab here, a space, a tab, and so on. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to glue those tabs shut. So if we flip this over, you'll see these are now valleys. The mountains are valleys. And we want to put our glue or double-sided tape in those valleys. So you're going to need 1/4 inch double-sided tape. I do not work well with double-sided tape, so I'm just going to glue mine. Okay, so that's that mountain tab thing. And then we want to hold it and make sure it seals shut. I'm just going to press mine down and hold it. You can use your bone folder or scoring knife or whatever, straight edge, to kind of press down on that and make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, and what that has done is it has glued that tab shut. So all those mountain folds are going to now be glued shut. And just make sure as you're doing this that you're kind of making sure that everything is aligning to the straight edge this way. Okay, you don't want stuff kind of getting off kilter, because then your pages are going to be off kilter. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more to go. So I'm just going to put glue in here and then hold it shut. And at the same time, you can kind of just use your knife to kind of fold these back and forth and make them a little less rigid, because this is what we're going to attach our pages to, if you haven't guessed or haven't done this before. Okay, so we got 2 more like that. I'm just going to finish mine all the way across, and then I will meet you back here. All right, so mine's all glued together, and what I want to do is kind of just push them one way and then go back and push them the other, just to kind of loosen them up a little, because this is what we're going to be attaching our pages to, so we want them to be a little flexible. Okay, and I have 7 like little tabs sticking up now. If you did the 8, you'll have one like this that has 9 across. The spine on this one is going to be 2 3/4 wide. And then this one, and I'm measuring from that first mark because that's actually where the spine's going to start. This one is 2 1/4 wide. Now, if you want to make it bigger than 9 pages, I wouldn't go too big though, because it's going to be like awkward. It's going to be more wide than it is tall, but I'll leave that to you. For every extra page tab you want, you need to add 3/4 to your measurement. So this was 8. If you want to add one more page, you do 8 3/4, and then you do the same thing. You just score a 1/2 inch on each side and score 1/4 all the way across. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. All right, so this is our spine, and then this is going to glue into our cover. So my cover will have a spine and 2 pages as well. And then this spine will glue inside of that spine. So I have to make sure that whatever the spine is that I make for my journal is going to be 2 1/4. And however I, figure that, I need to make sure that it's 2 1/4 for the spine, and then whatever I'm going to do for the covers, which in my case, it's going to be, I'm just going to take this and push it in half. I had a spider crawling around here before. I can't find it now. It's freaking me out a little. Okay. And I'm going to measure this. And the reason I'm not giving you exact measurements for yours is because if you had to cut off borders and stuff, yours might be a little different. Okay, so mine is 4 1/8 wide when it's, in its folded page state. So I think I'm going to do my cover that's 4 3/4 by, so that's just going to give me a 1/2 inch. 4 3/4, and then, wait a minute, maybe 4. I'm sorry, I'm going to go to 4 1/2. And then I'm going to make it 5 3/4 tall. Yeah, 5 3/4 and 4 1/2, but I have to double my 4 1/2. So let me get a scrap here. What did I say? 4 3/4 is the width of my cover, but then I have to double it and add the spine, right? But 4 3/4 by 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. So I need 2 pages like that, and then I need my spine page, which is going to be 5 3/4 by 2 1/4 in my case. And so 5 3/4 high by 2 1/4. So I need 4 1/2, 4 1/2, and okay, so I'm not going to fit it on a single paper. So I'm going to have to use a different piece for this part. Let me just see. Okay, let me cut my covers out of here. And then when I cut my spine, I'm actually going to cut it so that I have a little on each side like this. So I'm just going to cut it this width. What is this full width? It's going to be 3 1/4. So let's see. Am I going to get 3 1/4 here? I am not. I just need enough, so I'm just going to use this piece. So let me cut this up to 5 3/4, because I don't think this one is 5 no, okay. I think this will work. You'll see what I'm doing in a sec. And then these have to be, I need 2 that are 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. So I'm going to do my 4 1/2 this way, which means I can do my 5 3/4 this way. Yeah, I just don't think I will fit everything. So 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Okay, and this is my spine. And my spine for here. So this is going to glue on here. Why is that different? Oh, I know why, because I left some room. I was trying to think if I can probably put that on the outside. Okay, so this I'm going to, let's see, measure. We need it to be, oh my goodness, this ruler. If I make this 2 3/4, then I can put a 1/4 inch on each side to glue to those. That's what I'm going to do. 2 3/4. Okay, so it's 2 3/4, and it's 5 3/4, and I'm just going to score a 1/4 inch on each side. It'll make sense when I put it together. If I've lost you, I'm certain I may have, just make it 2 3/4 and then score it a 1/4 inch on each side. If you're doing the 7 page like I am. All right. Okay, and so this will form my cover, and this will sit in the center here. Okay, I'm just gonna do this to kind of show you that from here to here is 2 1/4, and it's gonna sit in that center. So this is gonna glue to my one cover and then to my other cover. Okay, like this. And I'm going to glue it to the inside because I'm going to cover it. Just make sure it's lined up to your spine. Okay, and then we'll glue this one to the other side of the spine. Okay, so that's my cover. This is ultimately going to fit inside there. We might have to finagle it just a little. Finagle. And then we'll end up putting a piece of paper over here to kind of hold that in. But first we have to attach our pages. So this is the least difficult part. We have to pick out the pages we want. I need 7 pages. So consider who you're giving it to and what recipes you might include. I'll do one of these. I gave you these pages in case you wanted to write some notes on some of the pages, but you could also cut these out and insert them in between where we're going to have some pockets. So maybe watch and see how I'm going to attach these, and then you might come up with some ideas of what you want to do with these. You can cut them apart and fit them in there, or you can just do a bunch of recipe cards like this and write notes on that. Okay, so I want this one, I want this one, and I'm just going to pick the rest of my pages. I'll be right back. Okay, I picked my 7 pages. They're going to go in here. So figure out what you want for your cover page on the far left and what you want on the back page, which is going to be far right, and your creases are facing you. Okay, these are going to get glued to those. All right, the gluing. We'll start with this one back here. So pick whatever piece you're going to put back here. And what I printed on the other side of these because I was going to do something else, but I decided not to. But basically, we're going to glue these onto each of these tabs. So take your first tab and just put some glue here on it. I hope you can see that. Okay. And then lay your open side, so your left side, up against that tab and just push it down on there and just hold it till your glue dries. Okay, this is going to be the easiest way to do it. You can do it a lot of different ways, but I'm going to give you guys the easiest way because I think this will work for everyone. Okay, once that glue is dry, all you want to do is put a little glue here at the bottom because we're going to form a pocket, and then along this edge. You want to make sure you're staying within a 1/4 inch over here because you're going to attach it to this side. So we're just going to fold this over and attach it to this other edge and form a pocket here. So I like to hold it upright like this so that it's attaching with this edge right at the back of the spine. Okay, once it kind of sets here, you can come in and even up that crease and just make sure everything is down like so. Okay, so you're going to end up having your page here, with a pocket on top. And this is where we're going to end up putting our recipe cards. Okay? So it's a very simple kind of mini recipe journal, but effective all the same. Okay, same way. We're just going to put a little glue, or if you have your double-sided tape, feel free. And as I'm gluing the second one, I just want to check that it's aligned here. I don't want it kind of wonky. And I want to make sure it's pressed all the way in there. It is. Okay, and then same thing. We're just going to put some glue down this side and then across the bottom. And then that's going to attach to the other side of your tab. All right, so we've got 2 pages in. I'll do one more with you guys and then I will finish this up and get back with you. But again, take your next tab, put your glue on this side, open your page, put it up against that tab, that crease, push this over, and then just make sure, see how this one's down a little? I just want to push it up some. This one is cut a little wonky, so I just have to account for that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Maybe it does for you. It doesn't for me. All right. I just want to make sure that's dry. And then glue, glue, glue. This is a great no-sew binding. So if you don't like to sew, you can just glue. And it'll hold. It's paper, it's glue, it'll hold. It will. You just don't want to go beyond that crease because then you won't be able to turn your pages. So that's the only thing you really have to pay careful attention to, and that your glue is drying. All right, I'm going to finish up the rest of these pages and I'll meet you right back here. All right, guys, I am back, guys and gals and girls and everybody. My 7 pages are attached. Here we go. And it's fun because when this is in your book, it will lay sort of flat, and you can kind of, you'll see like that, and it'll be fun to kind of see the pictures. We can decorate, we can add in stuff to our top pocket. So let's attach this to our cover now. Okay, this is the cover. And I'm going to get just a little bit of fabric to put up here, or ribbon. I'm not sure. I'm just going to look at what I have. Okay, I have a couple of options. So when I cut this, remember, I have a little room on the top and bottom. And so I was thinking it would be cute to kind of put in a little piece of lace just to cover over that area so it's not so stark white, and it'll kind of stick out the top and the bottom a little. I like this one, I think. Let me see this one. Yeah, I don't like the way, I guess if I cut it like that, Okay, let me do that. I do like this one. So I'm going to cut it there. I'm cutting it so that it lands between these score marks that I did on that 1/4 inch ish. Okay, and I'm just going to use my Fabri-Tac, and actually, since I have this one, let me just do a second. For the bottom. You absolutely do not have to do this step. This is an add-on. I just didn't want to see that white. And I don't want to go beyond the crease because I don't want it hindering my ability to open and close these pages. Now when I drop this in, you'll see that out the top. Okay, so now the step is going to be to glue this to here with one rule. You don't want any glue on this tab or this tab, but you do want glue on this first 1/4 inch on each side. And I am, since this is over here, I'm going to use this. And then you just want to line it up between the score marks for your cover. You can be generous with the glue here in the center. Just be careful around the edges because it, it flows. When you press, it squirts out. But we don't want it coming out either. Which, once we put our side pieces down, it's less likely to do that. Make sure it's in the correct position. And then, I'm just going to see, where's my score? There it is. We have some wiggle room. Well, I do with this glue. Oh. There we go. Bring my cover up so I make sure I'm within it. Okay, and then just glue it down. Take your bone folder, kind of go in here. Just make sure all those bits are down and glued. I want to be especially careful here where I put my fabric, my lace there, to make sure that it's going to stick to it. Could be a weak point. All right. And let your glue dry really good. I know somebody's going to say leave it overnight. I am not that patient. I want to get moving now, but if you want to let it dry really for a long time, go ahead. If you're giving it as a gift and you want it to last, it is just paper, but still. I have paper that's from the 50s, 40s, 1800s. Okay, and while you're doing this, just make sure you're checking these creases here and here because they could shift. All right, so there we go. All right, now we have to cut our pieces for here. So I am going to just kind of eyeball this. You can do this before if you want, but I'm just going to leave a little edge. And if you want to go ahead and ink all that, feel free. Or take it all the way up to the top. It's just sometimes the paper isn't as straight as it looks, so you may have to do some trimming. And again, I'm not going into this crease over here. I'm keeping it on the other side of that, where that crease is going to be. I'll give you my measurement on this in a sec, but it's not going to be super exact because it's a little off. So this one is 5 4/5 by just about 4.5. Okay, yours might be different. All right, so now I'm going to glue this last tab down. And then this is going to glue here, and I can just use this. It's a little neater because now I'm just gluing paper to paper. And if you have some decorative paper, you can certainly use that. Use what you have from your own stash. Just want to make sure I'm not in that crease. I may have to trim it up a little. Yeah. You can also make this another pocket. You can glue another one of these pieces on the inside to give it more decoration. You could put a lace pocket on here. It's up to you. There's a lot of possibilities, obviously. Okay. Sometimes when you open and close, that paper wants to pop, so just make sure you get it good and dry. All right, I'll glue this one down. I didn't initially glue these down because as this glue dries, I might have had to adjust it a little on the fold. So that's the reason I didn't glue that whole thing down. Okay, I think I want this bit in here. So all right, and this one should work out the same size as the one I just gave you. I'll probably have to trim this as well. That's fine. course, this one I don't have to trim at all. I don't know. Maybe I measured that one wrong. Okay, and there we have our cover for our recipe journal. Now, I'm probably going to wrap something around the back. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Where is that one piece? Hold on. Let's see if this will fit. I don't think I need to. Actually, I really like it. But if you wanted to, you could put some more lace around this side. Or do something like that. But that's that. So the cover is done. The rest is going to be decorating and adding in our elements. So I'm going to give you some ideas for that in the next video. But that is how this goes together. So this is video 1. Well, there's the intro video. So if you missed that, you can go back and see what's in the kit. So this is part 2. And if you are new here and you don't know about these kits, they're free throughout the month. So all the details are in the description box below. And you can get your free kit all throughout the month of August 2025. And then you can make this fun little recipe journal. And we're going to put our recipe cards inside here along with some other elements. So stay tuned for the next video where I do all that with you. And then, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. But let me know what you think of this month's No-Sew binding. And let me know if you went with 7 or 9 pages or more. Or if you did something totally different. I'd love to see your makes over on the Facebook group, Hither and Yon Create Space. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it. And if you're new here, maybe you want to subscribe if you like paper projects. So I will see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.